What's up, everyone? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, ES, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. Let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15. And the offer ends very soon in just about 2 days. Anyways, for SPY, I just wanted to mention that right now, we're in a very, very interesting place. The market is not necessarily like super bullish or super bearish. We're kind of stuck in the middle. It's a very, very mixed bag of emotions right now. I'll talk more about this in just a minute. Just remember one thing. Tomorrow we have the JOLTS job openings report around 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes after the market opens. And there's not really anything coming up before the market opens that's too significant. So you don't have to worry about any like CPIs, PCEs, or anything like that before market open. There's not much data coming out before open. The data comes out after market open for tomorrow. Just want to clarify that in case you guys are curious. Now, going into the markets, I just want to say that we're very indecisive. So what's going on is there are buyers, there are bulls who are trying to push the market higher, but they're struggling. They're struggling to break these resistance levels right here. So because they're struggling to do so, this opens the doors for the bears to try to step in. They managed to dump the market a bit, but it wasn't really enough to get us to start dipping down to fill these gaps below. So the market's kind of seeing some balance right now between buyers and sellers, and we're kind of stuck within this range. So this range right here happens to be between 547, which is where we rejected 3 times on SPY. But the support that's holding us up is very close to this 544 to 545 area. That's where we're seeing buyers defending. SPY is stuck right now going back and forth and back and forth. So make sure you watch that range very carefully. Now, let me clarify that if we were to hypothetically break past 547, we would be looking for 550 as a potential target if these highs break. If we end up failing, we end up losing 544. I'll be looking for 542 all the way down here. That's going to be critical support. If that support fails, there's another gap to fill all the way down here towards 539. So I'll be watching that very, very carefully just to see how things go. For the 4-hour time frame, we're very, very flat. And I'm noticing that it's kind of struggling to break past our 50 EMA. So that's one of the resistance levels very close to the 546 area. So SPY is still looking kind of lackluster. So you want to be very careful with this. And I want to be very, very open minded about my analysis. On top of all of this, I just want to mention that ES is following a very similar path. I actually have a trend line I want to show you guys. So when you look at this, especially on the 4-hour time frame, we touched the trend line, rejected, touched the trend line, rejected, and now we're coming kind of short of this trend line. To be bullish on ES, I want to see it basically break this 200 EMA. That's basically 55.35 around there. If that broke, we could have started to push and make an attempt to fill this gap all the way up to 5600. But we're failing to do so far. We're kind of struggling a bit. And this does open the risk of some downside. Now, this could depend on earnings and FOMC, but as of right now, we're kind of struggling. That's my concern. That's why we're not seeing SPY break out right now. That's why the market's not as strong, right? We're seeing a very, very big shift right now. And then the same thing's happening on SPX. We had this trend line as resistance. It's been trying to push. It actually pushed up quite a bit, and now it's just shuffling. It's just consolidating right now. We need to see this break past 5490 around that area to 5500. If we broke that range, this thing could have started to push to fill this gap. If it fails to do so, okay, if that were to fail, we could technically dip and actually end up filling this gap all the way down to the 5300s all over again, which would imply that the bottom is not really in yet and there could be more downside. So I want to give you guys a warning about that. The market does not look like it's very strong and we're just kind of shuffling. So we have to give this some time. That's why I have a range that I want everyone to watch for. On Nvidia, we're just continuing to be range bound, very, very boring. Why do I say that? Just look at the price action. Let me go back to the hourly and kind of show you what this looks like in a more specific detail. But if you look at the hourly, check this out, guys. Last 4 days, okay, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on Nvidia. 116 is resistance, 112 is support. It's been back and forth. We're kind of shuffling the 112, so we're looking a little bit weaker as we're in the lower end of this range. So there is a risk of it dipping a little bit more. And then when you zoom out all the way, it's still showing some weakness. It did try to bounce today. We did call out that little attempt, but it's still kind of lackluster as the bigger trend on the 4-hour is looking a little bit more bearish. So not looking that great for Nvidia, still looking kind of lackluster. I just want to call that out. Bitcoin was trying to rebound only to reject off 70,000. I called out a test of 70,000. We rejected. Our support's at 67,000 to 50 EMA, resistance at 67,994. As of right now, Bitcoin's looking a little bit more lackluster. For the triple Q, we're still a little bit lackluster. I just want to say this. I'm going to go to the 1 hour time frame to show you this. 464 is a very important area of interest. That's where it's trying to shuffle. We have resistance very close to 466. That's very close to our 50 EMA. Our key support's at 462. So right now it's shuffling around 464. Very indecisive. It's been stuck going back and forth for quite some time. We need to break and basically continue to break out past 466 for us to continue to push. Haven't done so yet. We're just shuffling, so it's just range bound between 466 and 462. Not really doing much, so give the triple Q some time. For Apple's trying to push. It's showing some life, but it's only up 0.3%. It's not that big of a push. Watch 220 is a key level. I want to see it break 220 to be bullish. Otherwise, we're completely range bound. Look at the last few hours or last few days, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Break 220, we turn bullish. Lose 216, we turn bearish. We're still stuck in the middle. For the IWM Russell 2000, we're actually dipping a little bit. We have resistance at 222. We also have support all the way down here around 220. If we lose 220, this will start dipping again. We're still kind of stuck. The Russell is showing a little bit of weakness, so just be careful with that. I think it could test 220. We'll see if we bounce or not. For Coinbase, I'm kind of concerned. We first off are looking a little bit lackluster as we failed to hold 240. And now we're kind of dipping a bit. So if we fail to hold 232, we have a head and shoulders like structure. We also have this gap to fill down here. This looks a little bit more bearish in terms of the pattern and the structure. So just be careful with coin. If we end up losing 235, look at 232. And if that breaks, this thing is going to get a rug pull. So be careful. It has to break 240 to turn back up. For Amazon, we have 184 as key resistance and 182 as key support. We're still holding up decently, but I want to see it break 184 tomorrow to remain bullish. Not doing that good of a job. We have earnings coming up, so we'll see how that ends up causing that to move. Meta is also trying to hold up, but like I said before, not as great as Amazon. Right now, we're below these EMAs around the 467 area. If we fail to reclaim them, we could dip all the way down towards 464. If that fails, watch 460, then eventually this gap all the way down to 454. If we were to rebound, I'd be looking at this imbalance. If 468 breaks, I'll be looking for basically 470, the 472s. And if those break, we'd be looking for 478. As of right now, there's a little bit of downside potential for Meta, so just be careful, especially if you end up losing 464. It's kind of shuffling, but I see a little bit more risk of that compared to Amazon. Microsoft is shuffling. We have 430's resistance and support at 425. It might just continue to shuffle within this range and see which way it breaks. We haven't broken in either direction. We're just shuffling. That's why it's only at 0.5% in the green. And then Google has a little bit more potential, but we have to try to break past 172 to turn up. If 172 breaks, it could push higher towards 174. I see a little bit more potential in this, but I need to see it break the 50 EMA for confirmation. All right, so that's it for my analysis for GameStop and AMC for those who are interested. We're still kind of weak. GameStop could try to retest 24 and then reject. We'll see how it goes. And AMC is also looking kind of lackluster. Might retest 5.17, but like I said before, we need to break past 5.4 to really start pushing. Otherwise, we're still kind of shuffling in our range. All right, so that's it for my video. Hope you guys have a great day. Make sure you watch these levels, and I'll see you guys very soon in just a couple of hours. All right, thank you and peace out.